Averaging 8.8 yards per attempt on the season, Pat Mahomes hasn't passed for under 300 yards since week 1. In a matchup that resulted in 83 total points, Mahomes lit up the Patriots secondary in the second half of last Sunday night's contest. Remarkably cool, calm, and collected, the kid can never be counted out. And for fantasy purposes, he can consistently be counted on. He'll host the Bengals in Week 7. I'm fearlessly forecasting 377 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Did you see how the Patriots barreled over the Chiefs' front 7 in Week 6? Now this run defense will have to contend with Joe Mixon, who has an 85% share of his team's rush attempts over the last 2 games and has a combined 11 targets. Mixon is operating at a true workhorse level right now, getting legit RB1 usage. With his workload secure, his offense humming, and the matchup looking extra juicy, Mixon has all the ingredients needed for a potential top-scoring running back overall dish here in Week 7. I'm fearlessly forecasting 22 carries for 113 rushing yards, a score on the ground, and 5 catches for 42 yards. Well, it sure was nice to see Kareem Hunt pop off with his clear best receiving line of the season last week. His 6 targets against the Patriots were a season high, and he made them count the box score with a long catch and run touchdown. However, we know throughout the course of the season that we've needed to count on his rushing work for him to pay off in fantasy, as he's averaging under 2 catches per game. Hunt gets the type of script that does lend itself toward rushing success here in Week 7, as the Chiefs are currently 6-point home favorites over the Cincinnati Bengals in a game with a 58-point total. Cincinnati allows 4.6 yards per carry this year, a bottom 10 mark in the NFL. I'm fearlessly forecasting 16 carries for 78 rushing yards, a score on the ground, and 3 catches for 22 yards.
TYREEK Hill is just coming off a monster game against the Patriots. 142 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. He's up to 6 receiving scores on the year so far. Look back at the last 3 weeks, he's seen 32 targets. So a high-volume receiver, almost uncoverable, one of the fastest men in the league. It's a great spot for TYREEK Hill. Basically, in any given week, it's the Cincinnati Bengals here, and they actually rank, they've given up the 5th most passing yards in all of the NFL. 292 passing yards per week. It's a relatively friendly defense. We think this is going to be a shootout. Yes, I think TYREEK Hill finds the end zone again. Yes, I think he goes over 100 yards again. We give him 6 catches here, 102 yards, 1 score. Tyler Boyd has seen at least 7 targets in his last 5 games. He has a couple of 100-yard performances on the season. He's coming off a 2-touchdown game. Life is good when you're lined up opposite A.J. Green in a productive passing offense. The matchup this week, it doesn't get much better. It's facing the Kansas City Chiefs. They allow 340 passing yards per week. They rank next to last against the pass. It's a great spot for Boyd. I think he finds the end zone again in this one on his usual heavy workload. Let's give him 6 catches here, 67 yards and a score. Sammy Watkins had only 4 targets and 2 catches on a night that his team scored 40 points in Week 6. That's not great. He's been basically relegated to supporting receiver status in Kansas City, under 20 receiving yards in 2 of his last 3 games. That's not good. He's a boomer bust fantasy performer, folks. He gets a good matchup this week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has allowed 292 passing yards per week, the 7th most yards to opposing wide receivers. These are good signs for Watkins, and again, he's tied to the right offense at least, so he's always got a shot at finding the end zone. However, not a high-volume receiver, that's a small concern. I'm going to give him 3 catches in this one, 61 yards, but no TD.
Shockingly, Travis KELCE only posted pedestrian numbers in a shootout affair last Sunday night against the New England Patriots, but I think he's easily a top 3 option this week and maybe the number 1 overall tight end in Week 7. Why? Well, you look at the matchup. Cincinnati's allowed the 4th most fantasy points, giving up 7 receptions, 68.2 yards per game, and 3 total touchdowns to the position. KELCE, who is averaging a top 3 fantasy points per game line, slam dunks the Bengals in this one. He goes for 5 catches, 84 yards, and a score.